Yo, what's good? It's the boy Dude Reviews and heavy spoilers for the final episode of AOT. You have been warned, particularly the Battle of Heaven and Earth chapter. We start the episode with a flashback of 2,000 years ago, the day Ymir opened the gate to allow the pig to roam free. Why she did that? Even though they are animals who are just waiting to be slaughtered, Ymir looks at them and she thinks of herself. These animals had no choice but to be caged up, and she wants them to be free. The anime even goes a step further, having a shot of her smiling after she did that, showing us how satisfied she was at her decision. This is probably the only time she's truly smiled and been happy. When we cut to the Battle of Heaven and Earth, the Beast Titan's skull doesn't have the excessive amount of smoke like it does in the anime version. It's a shame that the smoke covered that beautiful skull detail, as we do see Reiner's Titan not surrounded in too much smoke with that beautiful 2D art. The rest of the early section of the manga is more or less the same, with Mikasa being hesitant over Armin turning colossal to snuff out Eren and Zeke. It's a shame that the anime cut this shot of Erwin when Armin is thinking about those who can't abandon anything, can never change anything. But I guess that the anime wanted to focus more on Armin Arlet and not allow anyone to distract from his moment. I do like how the Okapi Titan was surrounded in smoke as it was about to attack Armin. In the anime, in the manga version, you can clearly see the Titan behind Armin. I do prefer the still solo shots of each character's expressions as they realize that they aren't the only ones on Eren's founding Titan back as the ancient Titans appear with that added animation. I really do like how the anime version really shows the humanity in the Marley and Eldians. This one shot of one of the Eldians opening Onyankopon's eye in the anime wasn't apparent in the manga. That one detail just truly makes you realize that despite the rumbling being the end of the world, some humans still want to do what they can to help one another, to not repeat the tragic cycle of hatred again. The main Battle of Heaven and Earth is more or less the same. Most of the paneling is very well adapted, and I feel like anime version truly surpassed Isayama's artwork and not only were faithful but added extra scenes. Peak heading towards Eren's head was actually a little extended in the anime. There were only 2 panels of her leaping and then she attaches the dynamite onto the founder. Although I did like the desperation of Peak trying to grab the dynamite in the manga, the anime makes it look like she's falling away from it instead of trying to grab it. The gorgeous slow-mo shots of Armin realizing that the founder Ymir is the one controlling the Titans attacking his comrades was so well adapted. Considering what humanity did to Ymir in the past, it's not surprising that she wants to unleash her rage to those that were never truly there for her in the end. She had to rely on her own strength. I love the deep dark blue color that Armin is in. It looks like he's sinking into the ocean. His dream to make it to the ocean led him into the Scouts, which eventually made him the commander, and now that everything is all going downhill, it's symbolizing that Armin's dream became a double-edged sword for him. He got to see it, but it eventually led to a lot of tragedy. It was a bit emotional seeing the Bertolt Colossal Titan grab Reiner like that, while Reiner's mother, who had the Byakugan/Sharingan vision of seeing her son from such a long distance, was pretty cruel. Bertolt was the only friend that Reiner had when he was a kid, and seeing that Bertolt is the one to take out Reiner like that, horrible dude, so horrible. The lower half of the Founding Titan's ribcage had beautiful lighting, just the way the smoke and the lighting all looked. The coloring reminded me of Mount Olympus from Disney's Hercules, I suppose, with all the Scouts being absolutely defeated by the Ymir Titans. This is the area where Falco makes an appearance, showing us that Falco was that ray of hope for the Scouts. Without his help, they would have been done for. Most of the dialogue and the paneling is more or less the same from manga to anime, especially with the Jean and Reiner moments. These two went through a lot. They were friends, then enemies. Jean saved him from Hanji trying to kill him. Back in season 3, Reiner was the one that took out Marco, and despite Jean's frustrations with Reiner, he still sees him as one of the Scouts. The Falco scene of them flying in the sky is the end of chapter 135 in the original manga, and that's where we cut to chapter 136. The scene where the Alliance are on top of Falco flying in the sky is the only scene where the anime cut some manga content out. After Gabby talks about how they are here to help the Alliance. In the manga, Rhino reminds Falco to protect Gabby, where we get the flashback from season 4 episode 2 when they're on the midnight train, but pretty much the entire sequence of the Warhammer Titans trying to strike down the Alliance is more or less the same. Rhino really was a Chad in this moment, absolutely going insane, tackling the Warhammer Titans, doing what he can to protect his comrades. The scene of Peak running down Lara Tiber's Warhammer Titan spear. Peak comes across as more serious when she's running down the spear, wishing she had ODM gear, but the anime, they made it look more comedic and running like a cute anime girl. Of course we need those comedic moments because this episode is pretty damn depressing. The scene of Levi thinking about Erwin and the promise he made is more or less the same from manga to anime. This manga chapter is called Dedicate Your Heart. The sequence of Mikasa and Annie's teamwork is pretty damn amazing in the anime. The music, the animation, sound effects really gets your blood pumping as you're watching this sequence. I love the panels of Armin thinking of Jean, Connie, Mikasa, Peak, Levi, Falco as they're fighting against the ancient titans. The drawings are far better in the anime. They're a lot clearer. I feel like some of the drawings in the manga are a little bit sketchy and a bit too scratchy looking. The animators at MAPPA truly captured Hajime Isayama's artwork of Armin's facial expressions from the manga. A phenomenal heartbreaking moment of Armin self-deprecating. And then after this moment, we get more rumbling scenes. Now, all of these scenes that you saw in the anime with the rumbling should have actually happened in the previous final chapters because they were part of chapter 134, which was the same chapter that had the Alliance descending onto Eren's founding titan. But I get it, that episode would have been way too much for the viewers, and it makes sense. Armin being desperate to get himself to wake up to help everyone else and stop the rumbling, and seeing if he doesn't do anything, then more people are going to lose their lives. The anime cut some manga panels of the civilians running away from their hometowns, particularly the shot of the civilians running away from an area that looks like London. You have some gorgeous wildlife scenes of giraffes running away from the rumbling, showing us that it's not just the humans who are suffering. Some of these scenes are of snowy fields, fiery seas, similar imagery and landscapes to Armin's book that Eren and Armin dreamed of. I suppose that's why these rumbling scenes happen after Armin's breakdown. Eren is destroying all the lands and landscapes that Armin so wished to visit. While the manga panels had more detail, I will admit that I do like the anime's choice of censoring some of these scenes. It might have been a bit too much in the anime for casuals to watch. I do love the scene of the baby in the anime. While it's not exactly like the manga panel, I do like the cinematic approach. Some people have compared this scene to Schindler's List, and this chapter, Battle of Heaven and Earth, ends with the Armin boy in the paths, and that's it. I'll do the next chapter, Chapter 4, A Long Dream, in my next video, but Studio MAPPA, Yuichiro Hayashi, Kohata Yamamoto, and all the animators at MAPPA, as well as Isayama for writing this, all did a phenomenal job. But tell me in the comments down below, what did you guys think of this chapter? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Like for more AOT videos. Thanks for watching. Boy did the view, signing out.